This is Rossi's Clubhouse, and I'm here tonight with an artist that I had on the show about a year ago. Super talented, had such a great time when he first came on the show. Um, I have Teck Trey is back with me, you guys, and you all know Teck, so welcome back. Welcome Teck back to the show, you guys. What's
What's
up,
going
Teck? How you doing?
going on? I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed to say the least. A lot of good things have been going on in life, and I'm just taking life in its punches on the chin. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Right. Let's see. When I last had you here, we were talking about a couple of albums. I think the album that you had released, you were doing really big things, and then life changed for you. Things changed. I saw you in the tech field. I saw you. You're performing. You're doing so much. Do you want to kind of start and give me an insight into what's been going on with you since we last spoke about a year ago?
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good conversation. I think at the time I was in Las Vegas.
Okay.
I was working an event. I think it was like a Google event or something like that.
Okay.
Um, and I was doing that for about a week, and in between I fit this in between time. I think at the time I had dropped Take It Up With God 2. Take It Up
Yes.
With God 2 was a really good album. It was kind of my last one that I was spitting out for the streets or whatever. So I gave him another little street album just so that I can eat off of that and
Right.
and continue to rebrand.
Right.
I've been working on this huge rebrand lately
Right.
that's really put me in a pretty good position, and I'm really happy at the results so far.
Right. What about the rebrand? Like what's tell me about that. I want to talk about the rebrand because you have been I mean you've been doing here lately you're booked, you've been doing shows. I mean total different look, just everything the Instagram stuff that you're doing as far as teaching people how to do this, how to be on Instagram, how to get followers, how to kind of
Yeah,
turn it into a business.
yeah,
You
yeah,
start with where you want to start with because there's a lot to get into.
yeah. As far as the rebrand, the rebrand kind of came out of grief. Last March, I lost my mother. Uh, very good woman, very strong, powerful woman. And as soon as I lost her, I got right to work. I got right to
Wow.
work. I'm working on this project called Peace in the Pain. I have both of them done, Peace in the Pain 1 and 2. It was
Oh
so
wow.
much grief that I was going through. I went through addiction. I went
Really?
through depression. Yeah, I'm in therapy right now. You know what I mean? Just
Wow.
because I had to deal with so many losses after that. I lost my
Wow.
pastor on Father's Day, the day of Father's Day. Lost him that on that. Lost her in March. My auntie, I lost her in October, and my grandmother 48 hours after her. So I was
Really?
so much grief last year. Last year was the worst year ever for me, and that's what kicked off this rebrand. And
Yeah.
so as far as I have a lot of stuff for the streets, trust me. Apple Music wants Teck Treyz. No matter
Right.
what I do, I try to change and give them this new kind of look. You heard me with the little rhythms and the harmonies and things
Yeah.
like that, but they're like, no, we need that Teck Treyz. And I'm just, it's like Mr. Jackal, Mr. Hyde. I got two consciences talking to me at the same time. It's like I can eat off the streams over here with the street music and and
Right.
and file taxes on them. But then on this side, I could really just talk to God, in my music
Right.
and really open up. And lately, that's what I've been doing. Like this project that's coming out,
Yeah.
it's heartbreak in there, it's grief in there, loss of loved ones,
Right.
breakups. Like it's anything that has anything to do with heartbreak. I'm like
Right.
Kanye West in the 808 and heartbreak. Like I'm coming with that. I've had a few listeners that I've sent the link to just listen to it and give me their insight. And
Yeah.
some people one person hit me with a Lupe Fiasco.
Really?
Like yeah, man. And he's like, man, that remind me, you got this Lupe Fiasco about you in that. So I'm loving the results, and I can't wait to release it.
I would think that like most people after especially losing your mother, like my mother is everything to me, and as you get older, you think about life, how that would be. I can't imagine, but most would go into a shell. can't do anything. You took that and her dying as an inspiration to just
Yeah,
redo, because the haircut, like, it was like a totally different person. And even in your music, like you say, what you were talking about was, it was very spiritual.
yeah,
It was very different. I remember listening to it, and I didn't know, but I'm like, something's going on. Something's going on with Teck. I don't know what it is, but you're coming at a whole different angle with music. And you talked about basically the good versus bad. Basically, you have, they want you to do street music, but you've really been doing this music that is inspirational.
yeah. I
Like,
used it as fuel. It
okay,
came off as fuel. It was like, all right, I have to do this. You know what I mean? I have to do
right,
this. It was like the Biggie Smalls movie when Biggie died and his mom was
right,
on the bus, or in that car,
right,
looking outside, inspired by how many people loved her son. And yeah, it's like a moment like that for me with this project, and I can't wait. This is going to be probably my best body of work by far because of that grief and that pain that I can just let out.
right. How long did it take to put the project together? Like, where are you at in the project? But how long did it take for you just to put it down on paper, from mind to paper, and knowing that it's going to be 2 albums that you're
From
giving
mind
us?
to from mind to paper, I'd say about 7 months. I'd say about seven
Okay.
months. It took me about 7 months, but overall, it took me 9 months, if that
Right.
makes sense. So
Okay.
basically,
Okay.
I was done with the writing process seven
Okay.
months into it, but I used these 2 months to plan and progress so that it'd be time to press the easy button when it's time to release. You know what I mean? As far as
Right.
making sure the videos are shot.
Right.
As far as making sure the skits are done, making sure that all the cinema is out the way, so
Right.
that when it's time, we can go for a full launch on this
Right.
rebrand.
Right. Do you manage yourself? Is it just you? Do you have a whole team that you work with that helps you out, or is this you? Because it, when talking to you, it seems like this is you. This is your mind. This is you doing it. What's your
I
team like?
I actually have another mind. It's been me and my brother, Red Nation Domino. We've been doing this since we were 16. I'm talking about
Wow.
in Mama's garage,
Wow.
in 106 outside, and it's that hot in the garage. Like we were, growing up, and we're still right hands to this day. I do a lot of stuff on my own because I already had my plate half full when I came
Right.
aboard. We came and put this. They call us Red Nation. But
Okay.
on another note, it's just been Teck Treyz keeping his plate full so that we got an establishment.
Right.
JLM, I got Carlos. Shout out to Carlos. Carlos has been a big help for me. Um, that's where I distribute my music at. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think last time I was talking, I might have talked about some time when I was with Black Market. I don't know if we were talking about that, but
I think.
I was with Black Market Records. But before I got with Black Market, I had signed this deal with him on the under, so that when
Okay.
things go, or if things were to go sour with that label, I could fall back off of my distribution, so you can't own my music. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like there's
Smart.
so many strategic things I've done in this, and I think it's phenomenal when I look back at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
so Carlos at JLM, he does a lot of my dropping as far as doing things like that in the cinema
Right.
and stuff. So shout out to him. Shout out to Domino. I have a few other
That's
members that's a part, but it's really just me and my brother for real.
right. You've been doing a lot of shows. You, like, your schedule this week. We were talking, and you're talking about how your schedule's tight this week. I mean, you got shows. I mean, you've been doing shows. What, last weekend you made appearances. It
Yeah.
the strength that you got from the loss that you went through. Like I said, most wouldn't get out of bed. You took it and used it a whole different way to where you're outperforming. Does that help? Does that help as far as therapy for you to just be out in your element, performing, singing? Is that a Does that help you cope?
I mean, before I can get to that part, as far as coping, there are things outside of music that I do that help me cope, like
Okay.
washing my car, for instance. I will wash
Okay.
my car every time I'm mad. I'll wash my car every time I'm sad. If you won't even know it, unless you know me, you know why I'm
Okay.
out there washing my car. There's little things
Okay.
like washing my car, writing poetry, uh, 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 uh,
Nice.
planning. You know what I mean? It's getting ready for the next week. you know, things like that. I'll go in my car. That is my spaceship. That is my lab. And I will go, you know, do things that keep me busy. But
Okay.
as far as coming out and performing and showing face at certain and showing support
Yeah.
for other artists and things like that, I'm just now getting busy. You know, people have
Okay.
been asking me when you're gonna perform. Venues have been tapping in with me. You know, it's been a long time coming, and I think after I had my kids, that's really what realigned me to have a better thought process when it comes to, you know, performing. Because
Right.
I used to be super duper passionate about performing. Like I'm talking about holding my breath underwater for 1 minute, you know, building
Okay.
my lung capacity, little things like that. I used to have such a big passion for it.
Wow.
But after a while, I started getting older. All I was doing was creating, and I'm like, I don't think I want to do this. Then after a while, my health, I could start feeling it. Like when I
Mm.
wasn't practicing anymore, I
Yeah.
started hating how I felt after shows, after performing.
Mm.
Like, you know, I shouldn't be this gassed. I shouldn't be this winded. That's why it's important to stay in the gym or work out, you know, little
Right.
things like that. So I'm just now diving back in it, and I've been booking and booking and booking and booking,
Yeah.
booking. I'm trying to stay busy because that makes me happy every day. Trust
Yeah,
me.
I mean, I'm seeing you at the iHeart, you know, you're there, you at another studio, and then you're showing love to other artists. And speaking of other artists, we're talking about this backstage, the fact that some of the people that I deal with, Jay Kent, you said
Mm-hmm.
that what did Jay Kent, what was your connection to Jay Kent? You want to tell the audience a little bit about that because he's blowing up.
Yeah. He is. He's very talented young man. Very good individual. He'll give you
Yeah.
the last shirt off on his back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Last
Yes.
dollar in his pocket. I
Yeah.
actually met him through my brother Ty Slaps. He is also an engineer out here
Wow.
who has done large stuff for me. We you know we were in a group as well. So
Okay.
I met him off of that and just kind of played the backfield and played the back, you know, backstage part of it and just was just
Okay.
figuring things out. And then, you know, we came together one day and just came up with this track. It's called Find a Way. It's out now on all platforms. And
Okay.
we started rolling off the momentum of that song, and the momentum was crazy. Like I don't care if you get 20 likes and you don't the song don't blow up. It's about the people that contact you about the track, you know, and
Very
they were
true.
contacting us and hitting us about certain. We started doing numbers, and you know, I
Wow.
even talked on Paranormal Activities. That came out. That's another one of my albums. That's it's on there too. It was something big about that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
one day he had hit me. He was like, bro, you want to perform at the Kings Arena? I was like, Kings Arena, is it a game? He's like, yeah, it's a Rockets, Kings versus Rockets game. And we were
Wow.
one of the. I don't know if I need to do my. I don't know. I need to do my homework, but I feel I almost can bang it that we was the first ones up there that
Wow.
ever performed at that arena. It was in 2019.
Wow.
So I think we were one of the first artists to do that, and it's because of him, you know,
Right.
that happened. You know, him and his team though,
Right.
because
Yeah.
everybody
He's got, yeah.
signed him, Money Gang, ZV, my boy Status. I still talk to him to this day. He make beats with me,
Nice.
you know. So you know,
Okay.
this whole team. Shout out to him for sure.
Absolutely. You know, I love the fact that when you said you took a little step back and then you're out and you came back out and you're doing everything. How do you feel about the love that your fans are showing you? The love that even the community, like I said, a lot of people that I follow or that follow me, they all know you. And I didn't know that, but your name is like big here. How does that feel to know that you had that love once you took a break and came back and just everyone's showing you love. Like you can't get enough. Like everyone wants you to perform.
Yeah, it's almost breathtaking. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
breathtaking, you know, to see that, you know, your work
Yes.
is paying off. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's one thing that we do this for. We don't do this for nothing. You know, I don't do this for twos and fews views. Like
Right.
you know, I'm doing this to really, you know, make a difference. And
Right.
you know, not to toot my own horn, but I've known how to be popular for a long time, whether I'm popping or I'm just popular. I've known how to
Right.
do that since I was a kid
Right.
because, you know, I grew up in performing arts and things like that. So I already
Okay.
knew how. And then once you get into the music, like all this stuff is an act unless you're really coming with it for real, like Nas or somebody like that. All this is for, you know, in a video, we're acting. You know what I mean? We're all actors. We're trying to, you know, so we all got goals in this, and I'm making sure that I put my first foot forward, you know, and
Right.
really enjoy the fruits of my labor for real.
Right. Let's talk about history right now. The past with music and where we're at with music. How do you feel about hip hop and where we're at now and where we came from with hip hop? Or just music in general, you know?
Before I dig into it, it's funny. I was discovered at the Apple iPod store, and I think I was like 19, and at the time I was listening to Nas. I was
Yeah.
listening to Nas, Child Called Quest. You know, I was listening to.
Okay.
I was a huge Method Man, Redman
Oh,
fan.
yes,
You know,
yes.
huge Wu Tang. Like, you know,
Yes.
things like
Yes.
that. It's crazy how things have evolved back then. Because I was into battle rap, so at
Okay.
that time I'm listening to the Cassidys, the Murder Mooks,
Yes, yes.
the
Yes.
Before Daylight, the everybody. I was listening to a lot of Smack DVD at that time
Okay.
because at our schools, that's what was big, was battle rap. So I'm looking at
Right.
how music has evolved, and it's evolving more for the good now. I could say
Yeah, I think so.
more for the good now. Maybe everything might not be candy. There's a lot of
Right.
poison, but I feel like the poison is getting out of hip hop system now. Because if you
Yes.
really pay attention, I don't know if you've been noticing, but they've got a lot of YNs trying to come out and rap about God in these YN.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, at first, when I first heard the first kid, I'm like, I don't know if I can get jiggy with that. But then I started listening to another artist. I think he goes by Mikey So Christian.
Okay.
And I started listening to how he comes. He's a Mexican guy. I'm listening to him I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So I think it's changing for the better because now we got kids going to the Bible now. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You can't rap
Yes.
about that unless you read his sword for real.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I think hip hop is changing with the times right now. I think
Right. I
we're really
think
ironing out the wrinkles with that.
and I'm going to touch on this, and you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I think with the whole Diddy thing, I think that exposing behind the scenes of hip hop, and I grew up in that era where that's what I listened to. I I loved Bad Boy. I loved his artist, and once that the layers of that was peeled and people found out about that, then you had more people exposed. Like you said, the poison that's in the business was really exposed. It's like we knew but we didn't know, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that kind of changes your whole outlook on hip hop. And I was really afraid that that would kill hip hop. I've always been one that just, I didn't want hip hop to go away, but
Mm-hmm.
being aware, like you said, that happening has made young artists or new artists, like you said, be okay and feel okay with rapping about spirituality, God.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't have to just do street things. And you can do street things. And because if you grew up that way, you can
Mm-hmm.
bring that into how you got through it, talking about God. I think
Right.
that helped out a lot. And I think that more, as more is exposed, more artists feel more comfortable that they can do that now, because there was a code where you had to be that certain way, you had to rap that certain way. You can,
Absolutely.
like you said, like you what you were saying earlier, they want me to do this, but I'm
Yeah.
feeling this. You know what I
I
mean?
really see. I really don't really talk about the Diddy situation much because, for one, I don't know about it.
Right.
And then two, I really don't pay attention to mainstream rap like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But what
Okay.
I did pay attention to is how he was exposed in certain ways, and I'm not talking
Yes.
about the rated PG on up. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the music. I'm talking about some of the cats that did expose him, like they were talking about the business side of it and how they
Yes,
got
yes.
screwed. And,
Yes.
the
Yes.
people like us that's local out here need to know about that stuff because
Yes.
it can happen to you
Right.
you can be entry level and it'll still happen to you because
Right.
you entry level. They looking for a dummy
Right.
that's going to buy into what they're saying. They selling
Right.
themselves. They're going to buy
Right.
into all right, they throw some money out there. Now you got hard eyes because you don't know anything about the business. So that's
Yeah.
the part that I did get entertained about the Diddy
Yes.
situation. It's just what exposed them? You know what I mean?
Yes.
What exposed him, and what people on that status do? You know what I
Right.
mean? What they have the power to do to us because they have more money than us, or they have more notoriety or fame than us. So that's what I really got from that. And hip hop's gonna learn the hard way.
I agree with you on that. I have to say, why obviously, couldn't wait. Wanted to see the documentary, but I will agree with you when it got to that part of what he did as far as the money goes, as far as the contract goes, that was very interesting because as a viewer watching those videos at that time when I was young, an ignorant person that doesn't know the music business like I was, I thought that all those artists got paid the money that was due because I mean, you know, Black Rob, all of them, Craig, they all made really good music. So you're thinking, oh my gosh, they got the money that, that was due them and they did really well. But when they
Yeah,
get to the part where the contracts, how it was laid out, how you can sneak in the fact that I'll be in your video, but I'm not telling you that you're going to pay for that, or how you get in advance and you don't realize you got to pay
you
that
gotta
back,
pay that
or
back.
yeah,
Hello,
I didn't know that. Like
hello,
you did,
you
you
cooking?
don't know that. And so being that that happened, a lot of other little channels start exposing how the
Yep.
money that most have in the videos, it's not like that. You're borrowing that. You're borrowing
That's
the
what happened to
jewelry.
me with Black Market. With Black Market offered me, I'm not gonna say the dollar amount, but
Okay.
they offered me in advance, and I already knew that they were gonna come with that. I have a contract already in my back pocket, buddy. So
Right.
I'm not the one that any label can get over on now. I feel
Right.
powerful after dealing with that on such a lower level. You
Right.
know what I mean? When
Yeah.
it could have been Universal. It could have
Yes.
been what's RCA be picking up people like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of dirty macking out here. That's what I'm saying. A
Right.
lot of dirty macking.
Right. Do you with young first of all, do you deal with a lot of young artists that don't know, or that you're able to at least drop a little game and let them know,
I do
you
actually.
know, tell them?
The new clip, Lies Like a Movie. You know what I mean? The new
Yeah, yeah,
clip
yeah.
on my IG. I shot that and edited it. What
Wow.
happened? What happened with that? I don't know. We just kind of just was talking. I've been knowing him for a long time. He's from my area. Um, he has the knowledge, but he don't have the tools. If that makes any sense,
Yeah, I get
like
you.
they
Yep.
know certain things,
Yep.
but they don't know certain things. Like there's
Right.
things that I could teach him, and I talked to my management, and they actually like the song, and I'm getting great
Nice.
feedback about it. And that's also on the album. It's number 6, Like a
Okay.
Movie. I don't know. He started talking about street stuff, and when he was recording it, I'm like, I was more focused on how he came and his etiquette at the time. But in the
Right.
back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I want him to say that on this song. Because the whole album is
Right.
about my mom and heartbreak. And that's
Right.
why I came with the hurt until my pain gone, mama gone. I knew it hurt.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure that the song stayed aligned with the message of the project. So
Right.
he is my project right now. Jig. His name is Jig.
Okay.
He's a project that I'm going to be working on for the next couple of months because he's
Nice.
involved in the progress of this project. Like,
Okay.
so it's artists like him. It's a bunch of artists. I could say a bunch of names right now that I've given a lot of game to, that
Okay.
showed me that they're listening. And that's all it takes is for you to listen. I just need you to
Yes.
listen because there's a
Yes.
lot of game that I have that can benefit you and me. I'm already benefiting from it because I'm using it. That's why
Right.
I'm giving it to you now. I'm giving you the game. It's up to you to take it and see how far that takes you. Of
Right.
course, everything I do is not going to give the same results, but it's going to go the same direction for sure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
maybe because I might have a little bit more followers, or I get more reposts than you, or I know a lot
Right.
more people in the city. You know what I mean? Regardless,
Right.
like I'm the one with the blueprint. So don't worry about my plate. Worry about your own, especially if I'm
Right.
giving you something.
We're also talking about the fact that things have changed in Sacramento as far as performing and the arts. I mean, I could do this show forever. There's so much talent here in Sacramento. But you were mentioning to me about how they're doing more open mics and how it is different now than it was. You want to explain that to the audience about the open mics and how we did not have it. It wasn't like that some years ago.
Yeah, the open mics have taken rap back by storm in Sacramento. I say back in 2017, maybe like between the 17 and 20 block before we got to the pandemic or whatever. Open mic was great. They had the penny for your thoughts. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Where you just give them a donation on some LaRussell stuff. Just give them give them a donation just to perform or just to spectate or whatever. You know, they had Soul Collective. That was a good one. We had Pine Cove downtown. It was a bar, but you know, open mics, free karaoke, things like that. We had that. But then
And,
after a while, we started getting these ugly shows. You know, I mean, Blue Lamp was great. I haven't had a bad show at Blue Lamp, but then we had the Pinkies at the time. Back a little bit earlier, we had the Silks. You know, where you didn't know if there was going to be a fight or not, or you
oh,
didn't
wow.
know. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Or one of the big things Sacramento had where an artist perform and once he's done, the whole crowd leave. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
60% of the show done because now the building is, but with these open mics taking over, what they're doing is they found this formula. Like they really found the formula for it where they built shows around open mics. So it's
Wow.
changing the scenery, it's changing the aura of the show. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
people actually stay. Like I said, the snaps are different, the claps are different.
Yeah.
After your set, you getting buku amounts of people coming up to you telling you how tight you were. That's how
Yeah.
that is. You know, you're guaranteed if you perform at one and you're really good, you're guaranteed to see between 8 and 15 followers that night just from
Nice.
interactions face to face. You know what I mean? I
Right.
love it now. I love this
Right.
scene.
Yeah, I've been blessed to be able to go to a couple of shows and they're just like right downtown. They're accessible, they're free,
Mhm.
they're performing where you can get food, get a drink, people come out, it's a really good time. I do want to get into the business of Tech Trade because things have changed. You're now
Mhm.
able to help those that want to be on Instagram, want to
Mhm.
have a personality on Instagram or a brand. Talk about what you do for them and how they can grow their following.
It's crazy. I feel like I'm sweating now. I don't know if I'm sweating yet, but I feel like I'm sweating as you bring this up because it's something that I was really passionate about. Like a lot of people don't understand how hungry I really was at a certain point in my career. You know, I had just did the Kings Arena. You know, I had just did a bunch of things. I had packed out Colonial Theater at a show I was headlining. You know what I mean? And that's in my hood. So things
Wow.
like that continue to fuel me. I'm like, you know what? Everybody's talking about I need to come back. You know what? I agree. I accept. So one of the things that I had been doing was really trying to build my following. I'm like, bro, I'm sitting there. I'm like, there's got to be a way out of this shit. You know what I mean? There's got to be a
Right.
way out of this entry level thought that this entry level results that we was enduring. So back in 2014, I stumbled across a formula. I don't know how I did it. It was
Hmm.
on Twitter though. And what happened was I was joining these engagement groups. And what engagement groups are, they're basically groups full of active followers following behind a moderated account. A moderated account is basically one of us, but they
Yeah.
started the group and they got what 300 something plus thousand followers,
Wow.
and most of them are active. So what we were doing in those engagement groups, they were doing what you call follow trains, and what follow
Okay.
trains are basically tweets that give us directions on what to do. So for instance, the tweet will say, follow everybody who retweets this in 20 minutes. You'll get 50 followers. I was seeing like 200 followers a tweet. Like
Wow.
literally after I retweeted and started following, I was seeing 200, 250. Like, so it got to a point where I
Wow.
started getting so addicted to this formula that I started creating Twitter pages and selling them. So what I would
Really?
do, yeah, I started selling them. And once I hit that first 10K on that first that page skyrocketed to at least like 50K in about
Oh,
3 months. So I was like, bro, this might really work. This might really work. So I continued to do that until I think I had like 7 Twitter pages at the time. I only had sold like 3. Now, I'm not gonna say the amount I was selling it for, but now I see why people be scamming online. But I had like 7 Twitter pages at the time. I was using 3 of them as if they were me. So it would be like one main one and then 2 dummy pages or fan pages. And I was so addicted and so hungry to be seen that instead of begging and sending posts and blowing you up every couple times a week, and I was really building my following. So that formula that I came up with on Twitter, I just stumbled across just jumping into that. I carried that over to Instagram. So once I carried it to Instagram, it was a different type of feel. So basically one day I'll say, A Boogie with the hoodie, right? A Boogie with the hoodie posted a photo, and in a couple seconds it's seen, I don't know, maybe like 5,000 likes or something.
wow.
At the time, I'm going through his post, following as many people as I can. Like I'm just following as many people as I can. And because of that 2 seconds that they had liked that photo, they're still
Right.
online and they're still looking through their notifications. They're gonna see my follow. And it
Right.
got to a point where I'm starting to see like 100 follows an hour, between
Damn.
75 to 100 follows an hour. So it just kept it. I started, once I got that Twitter shit out the way and got to Instagram, I didn't even give a fuck about Twitter no more. I'm like, bro, this is about to be a gold mine for Instagram. So I started doing that until I got, I think it was like 3 pages to 10K, and I ended up selling 2 of those pages, and I ain't sold a page since. It was because as I kept doing this formula, I was growing with Instagram. So one day I tried the formula, and I think I had followed like 8 people, and it said you can't follow nobody no more. And I'm like, bro, what the hell's going on? And it did that for about a month. And what I
Oh,
didn't realize was I thought it was my punishment from Instagram for abusing
okay.
their site and follow. Because after a while, they're going to block you after, like, I think at the time it was like 50 follows an hour. They'll block you.
Okay.
Now you can't do it because it's like 15 follows an hour.
Okay.
You can't follow more
Wow.
than 50 people. And I didn't know that. And I kept
Right.
doing it. And I didn't realize that Instagram was up in their security. You feel me?
Wow.
That's how I know how many follows you could do in an hour, because I'm like, I was doing it all the way till we can't do it. So by this time,
Right.
I think I had like 19,000 followers at the time.
Damn.
And I was coming from 8,000 followers. I started this formula at 8,000 followers.
Wow.
8,000 followers. And it took me a long time, but I still started seeing results. I don't,
Right.
it got to a point where I'm getting reposts without asking. I'm getting, because at that point I'm building relationships now.
Okay.
Follow for follow. Shout
Right.
out for
Right.
shout out.
Right.
Those little things build
Right.
credibility for you, because you're showing that you care about your fans. You're
Right.
showing that you give a damn about their lives. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
that's kind of how I started becoming a little bit more successful. The
Okay.
building relationships, the staying punctual on making sure I post every day, at least once a day
Right.
now, at least in my story, anyway, because they're gonna
Right.
see
Yeah.
that first.
Yeah.
Certain little tools that we have that we could use. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like the blue check, for instance. Shoot,
Yeah.
I bought the blue check. Damn right, I
Yeah.
bought the blue check. And
Yeah.
I will tell you this: shoot, that the most expensive one and the second most expensive one, I think, is like $49. That shit works. That
Really?
shit works. So if you don't let nobody tell you, yeah, you doing it wrong. That ain't right. They got tools here for us to use. I used the $14.99 one. That shit didn't even matter. That shit was just
Right.
like tissue. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If you really want to do, you're gonna do what you need to do. Like
Right. Yes.
buying ads. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
Buying
Yes.
ads instead of buying
Yes.
likes. Buy ads. You're gonna see
Yes.
results from
Yes.
overseas if you pay enough.
Right.
The conversation can be longer, but you know what I mean? These are things that you guys could use to elevate your game. Don't
Right.
be begging your followers. You're gonna
Right.
lose them eventually. You know what I mean?
No, I
And that's
agree
what
with
I've
you.
been trying to teach
I think the buy-in of the ads is more convenient. You can do whatever budget that you want to do, and you'll have people that hate on that. I'd
people.
rather
Yeah,
do an ad and promote myself than to buy followers.
Mhm.
If you do enough ads, you get followers from that. If people want to tap into you and find that out, you're helping people do that if they want to hit you up and do that.
Yeah, if you buy followers, you're gonna get bot results. Like you're gonna get robot results. Like you know what I mean? They're dummy pages that don't do shit. They don't do shit after they follow you. After that, it's over with. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I don't recommend the
Yes.
buying followers, but I do highly
Right.
recommend
And even
buying.
if you're trying to build something, I agree with you. If you guys are trying to do something and you have a brand and you're trying to sell something, you want real followers. You want
Yeah.
that. So you want to put money into yourself, which is into the
Mm-hmm.
business. And you'd be amazed how far you can go with ads. I buy ads on Facebook to grow my Facebook
Mm-hmm.
page. I buy
Yeah.
ads on Instagram. I buy ads on TikTok if I want to get something out. And it brings more people to your page. And before you know it, you got like 14,000. You got,
You
it
just
does
need
grow.
active people. As long as you got active
It,
followers, you're gonna be good.
yes,
As long as
absolutely.
they're active.
Yes. Trey, this is your part of the show. Your shout outs. What can we expect from you in
Mm-hmm.
in 2026? We just started 2026. We know we have 2 albums out. What else do you have coming for us in 2026 that we can expect from you?
Yeah, so this Peace in the Pain, that's coming out March 11th, which is her death date. Pre-order is actually around the corner. It's actually Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day is the first day of pre-order for that. So that comes out in March, and
Yes.
the goal for the second one is to release that May 4th, which is her birthday. So probably end of March, I'll have pre-order started, or maybe beginning of April around my birthday. I'll probably say my birthday. All right. My birthday.
Okay.
I will set that up for the second one to have pre-order started, and I'll have that dropped on her birthday. So we got that going on. I just had the KFBK interview. The guy that interviewed me, his name was Pat Walsh. He is what I considered my childhood hero at the time because I grew up in foster care and things like that, and he was my father's best friend at the time, or so closest friend, so to speak.
Wow.
He was my little bit of freedom. Being that he was a celebrity to a kid at the time, he was my little bit of freedom. So we've been talking for a while. And last year around the time when we did our interview, I had talked to him and he asked me, he was like, "How's your family?" And it was like a random hit up, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Random, like, "How's your family? How you doing?" And I had told him, like, they're good. A couple months later, mom's gone. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that's crazy how everything just happened. God's time is just, it's just so crazy. But we locked in and we had been talking about this for a year. So we ended up doing that. And it was pretty dope being on the radio. That was so cool to see people hitting me up talking about, "Yeah, I heard you." I already was telling everybody that, my Instagram's jumping. So everybody's just into this interview. And it was a real deep interview. But it was cool to see that happening. I got some videos coming out. Some videos from Take It Up with God 2 that never got released. Those are in the chamber. I just been kind of building my portfolio. I really been seeing more success in reels than anything. So I've been playing with these reels, and I just did one to the Uchiwali in the summertime. I was just walking through the BART and was like, "Hey, bro, record me real quick." Just start beating on the wall. And I was like, I thought about the Uchiwali, and I was like, this is gonna work. Let's do it. All right, so we ended up doing that, and I've been editing and shooting my own reels. I even record my own music. The Peace in the Pain album, that was recorded. Man, I locked myself in the car for 3 days. And was really getting jiggy on this album. And I record on GarageBand on my phone and get it professionally mixed later on. So I actually did 100% of that. I maybe not 100 because I did do a couple in the studio, but I did at least 80% of this album on my phone and got it mixed and mastered. So I've been doing things a cheaper way and feeling more successful within myself that I did it, because this goes back to what you asked about earlier. These are things that make me get through the grief better. You know what I mean? That's why I came up with the project, because it feels a lot better, talking about it out loud than keeping it in private. So I had to give my peers something that I know that they're gonna really, really relate to. There's a lot of people who lost their moms, So yeah, this is a big thing going on right now.
Let me ask you one more question before we go. You know,
Mhm.
with the loss that you suffered, and like you said, it was a month after this. I mean, just in a row, the people that you lost. Do you feel like maybe God has set you up for something great to where you had, you know what I mean, to where you had to suffer this and you're still going, and maybe there's a bigger plan for you that you don't know, but because when someone loses life like that, just right after the other, it's I feel like it's what is that? You know what I mean? What is that
Yeah.
about? And you're still doing your thing. Like you said, it gave you inspiration. Do you feel like you're being set up for something great that you had to go through such hurt?
Uh, I had my doubts. I
Okay.
had my doubts that you know, it was a setup for something good. I really
Okay.
had my doubts
Yes.
because I was really in this dark space that I've heard about before, but never really went through. And
Okay.
so with me going through that, I learned a lot of things. Like I was talking about the addiction. I'm actually happy I went through it because now I see why my friend John Doe over here downtown talking to himself in the mirror, because it will take over you.
Mm,
Addiction will take over you. So I had my doubts, but now that I'm
okay.
starting to see the results, it was before though. Trust me, I believe in God and I'm real spiritual. So I
Right.
knew that something was going to crack off, but I didn't know when. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when it
Right.
did, it kind of gave me a little reassurance that, yeah, maybe he could be setting me up for something great. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
even when my grandmother died, a lot of great things happened after that. You know what I mean? That
Right.
I had wished that she was here to see. But some great things were already brewing. With my name on it, and I really didn't know until it started happening. People
Right.
starting to reach out for shows again. I lost my page like 4 years ago, and I
Mm,
didn't know I'd ever get it back. I got my page back. Stuff started kicking off again.
right.
So a lot of great things have been happening, and I can't say 100% it's God. You know, it's definitely
Right.
God, because nobody knows what that grief feels like. You might have lost a brother or sister. I get it. That's a sibling.
Yeah.
But losing a parent, that's cold. And
Mm,
these are the parents that took care of me, because I still have my biologicals. But I don't call
okay.
that foster mom. I don't call that foster dad.
Right.
That's my
Right.
mother, and that's my father. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that, so I've been, building our relationship. Me and my dad's great. Me and my mom's
Good.
great. We,
Good.
I talk to my mom every day. You know,
Good.
so
Good.
I've been
You
just
know,
doing things to get through.
I had interviewed a chef a few months ago. His name was Chef Elliott, and
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him years ago. Super talented, but anyways, he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I remember when that happened. Anyways, I invited him on the show. He came on the show and he spoke about that. And he had lost his confidence. He lost his confidence in cooking, just all of that. And he ended up beating stage 4 cancer, but he would talk about how every night before he go to bed, he'd go in and kiss his wife and his kids and just stare at him because he didn't know if he'd have another day.
Right.
Anyways, after that, he comes on a show. He was thinking about doing some other things. He ends up reaching out to me, letting me know that him coming on the show, because it was kind of, he didn't know what to do or say. Him coming on the show, he was saying it was like therapy. He said that he ended up getting confidence back because, I remember him as this great chef. He was so good, but he said he kind of lost that. He'd done TV shows, he'd done a lot, but that cancer scare just really, I couldn't imagine. And having kids and a wife. But after that, I'm happy to report that he's getting ready to open up a restaurant. He's getting ready
Good
to,
for
he's
him.
hiring staff. He said he's just a totally different person, and he dealt with other things as well. But I liken him to you because you're talking about the loss of your mom and just the things that you went through with addiction. And then I'm talking to this man that was just a chef that went all over the world and lost his confidence in the cancer diagnosis and not knowing if he was going to live. And I remember him posting pictures of just pulling his hair out. It was a lot, but he made it through. And I like to check up on him periodically to see how he's doing and just to see that he's good. He's still healthy. He's still living life, but you never know. You never know what the next day is going to bring or if you're going to have that. So I
And that's
appreciate
the
you
like, look,
for
that's
coming
why I tell
on.
people right. That's why I
Yep.
tell you. That's why I tell people right now. You know, don't give up. Because I almost
Yes.
gave up. That's what the devil
Yes.
wants you to do. Don't give up. Before
Yes.
we leave, do not give up. That man used that as fuel. He don't know it. He might know it, but some people don't be knowing. Because I didn't know, and I use this as fuel. And every time I play this album, I'm like, bro, I feel so powerful because we used that and used it to in our skill to take over and do what we love to do and win doing it. So do not give
Yes.
up, y'all. Stay
Yes.
at it. I don't care what you're doing. You're a poet. You're a writer. Stay at it. Your book gonna be published one day.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I'm so happy that you took time out to come in. I wish you the best. You are great. I thank you. Blessings to you and your family. And anytime you want to come back to Rossi's Clubhouse, please come
oh yeah.
back when we
Okay.
got to
Got
tap
some
in
hoodies
again.
coming out too.
And merch. I meant to ask you about
Yeah.
that. Will we be able to get merch?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
My brother, Red Nation Domino, he does websites. So what I'm gonna do is
Okay.
because we have our own domain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug mine in on the
Okay.
website so that we can
Okay.
start getting it in digitally. But I do have a bunch of them. I have my Dumb Faith in my ass cap. That's a
Okay.
brand that I got going on. Dumb Faith in my ass cap. I'm gonna make one with BMI.
Okay.
And Dumb Faith in my hustle. I got that going on. So yeah, you'll
Okay.
be able to receive merch real soon.
Okay. There's one thing I want to do now, you guys, really quick. I want to highlight small businesses in Sacramento that don't get enough love. So really quick, I have here with me. This is AJS Junk Removal and Hauling LLC, All Junk Services. This is a friend of mine. His name is Andrew. This is a business that he started up. If you guys need junk removal, anything removed, hit up Rossi's Clubhouse. I'll link you up with AJS Junk Removal here in Sacramento. Until then, you guys, I am out. Teck, stay backstage. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next time. We're out. Bye.